Good morning, BBH. Morning, Stokes. Morning, Steph. Morning, other Bridget. We'll get into why that is happening. That's everyone. Also, that's funny. I cannot think of one. Eric Taylor, if you're somehow feeling the energy to have a dad joke about microwaves, please come to the stream and post it here. Alrighty, I got some lovely guests to talk about everything that happened yesterday. So we're getting all the aftermath from post-duel and all the way up through Megs is crowned our head of household. So let's get into it. Joining me, they both have been here before. Production member Dr. David Lee Farrell.
Hey.
Thanks, Godry. And making his return not off of a podcast right before this, it's Alex Trias.
Hey.
Hey. He's making his debut this season. He runs this whole thing. He created it. It's Josh Consalvo from work.
It is I from work, and I'm going to say something. I'm very proud of myself today. This has nothing to do with BBH. Very proud of myself today. I don't know. I haven't looked at the daily games channel in the BBH server, but I am very proud of myself that today I solved the purple category. Like, it wasn't just the last one I had left. I actually figured it out, and anyone else that has sent it to me, it was just their like default last category. So I'm very proud of myself this morning, and I feel smart.
I haven't looked at it yet, so I'll definitely have to take a look at it. And making her morning tea debut this season, why I said it's the other Bridget, because this is BBH Bridget from BBH20. It's Bridget McElliott, who is now a redhead.
Yeah, redhead. Has been working very hard on this.
What? Would you like to know that you are a genius? Well, there you go.
Thank you so much.
Oh, this is a Rune. Hello, Rune. I had no clue who the fuck this was. I was like, Rafiki rocks. The fuck, like, hello, like who loves the Lion King?
Who doesn't love the Lion King?
Yeah,
it's a great movie. It's a great movie. I'm not gonna make it my YouTube handle, but that's just me. I'm assuming Rafiki is his dog. But
Rafiki is whoever Arun wants Rafiki to be.
I hate the get to know you parts of orgs. So when Megs was talking about Arun and their animals, I zoned the fuck out. So I'm so sorry if that is your dog. I should have known that.
Not you not caring about Megs.
I just don't care about any of these people's fucking personal lives. I'm so sorry.
You don't care?
This just requires better communication.
Rafiki is the childhood dog, by the way.
Oh, there you go. See, I had a feeling based off of the profile picture. But anyway, let's get into it. So where we left off, Rizzo, Preston, and Frankie all evicted from their respective houses. Rizzo, his eviction is canceled immediately because Team Bubbly had easily the best team score by leaps, miles, things longer than miles. Preston then defeats Frankie in a very highly contested duel of 9 Men's Morris, evicting Frankie 2-1 from the house. And we have a little bit of some aftermath that we kind of hinted towards on the last tee, but it's time to formally discuss it here some more. This will be a big talking point for Megs' HOH, especially today on day 6. It is kind of all of the aftermath that involves her in this bubbly house bullcrap that shouldn't have happened, period. It just shouldn't have gotten to this point where Louise wants to save Victoria. Madison and Megs the night before seemingly come on the same terms to save Rizzo. Megs then wakes up to call Louise, and Louise is like, oh, no, this eviction's going to be canceled, and if we vote out Victoria, she's not going to be happy, so we might as well just vote out Rizzo. And Madison is not around all day until 45 minutes before, when Megs thinks that Louise has clued Madison in as well, figures out that she isn't clued in. Megs really wants to be unanimous, and then it turns into this whole big shit show where Rizzo thinks he's staying, and then within 45 minutes during Survivor, he's now being evicted 3-0. and Megs is trying to pin it on Madison for being a little chaotic. Then she's trying to blame Louise for saying that Victoria would take it poorly if she was evicted. All of this kind of culminating in people comparing notes and Rizzo and Madison leaving very, very poor tastes in their mouths in regards to Megs. So all in
I
all,
would say even Victoria left with a poor taste.
yeah, it didn't help that Madison tells Rizzo about everything. Rizzo then tells Victoria. Victoria wakes up in the morning on day 5 and is like, Louise, what the fuck happened? And Louise is like, well, from what I heard, Megs wanted you to leave, but I had to convince her to keep you. So now Victoria knows that Megs had nothing to do with Victoria staying. It was all Louise. So yeah.
Well, and Megs told Madison when she was convincing her to flip her vote, she flat out tells Madison that if it was a real eviction, they would not be voting that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I fully get it. I fully agree with what they did here. I think Louise and Megs had the absolute right read. We know Victoria very well from 19. She absolutely would have been upset about it, would have overthought it, would still be overthinking it to this minute. They made the right decision. It's just why it needed to get to this point where you didn't communicate with anybody over an eviction that y'all knew was being canceled. It just was a lot of hoopla for what?
They were just thinking about what the viewers
safety.
wanted, and we wanted chaos.
Yeah, I think it starts though with the precedent that Christian sent, and I will put some of the blame here on Christian still, is that he entered the round as HOH pretty confident they were going to be safe because he knew his own score, which was really good. And instead of trying to boost that team morale into them all thinking that, he starts like these small talk things like, I'm targeting Madison, but don't tell Madison, and all this. And so it really he wasn't really creating a culture on that team that was like, oh, we're all going to make it through this alive. And so I think then that makes everyone else kind of get a little messy. If you're Louise, we've talked about this, so I'm not going to like go on this again, but like Louise lets chaos happen around them and smartly plays that. But I think the buck still stops with Christian, in my opinion, on this.
There's a lot of people at fault here. Pick your poison, honestly.
Blame all of them. Blame all of them. They and you know what? They all should have went for HOH this round anyway, with all this discourse for all this for safety. And
right.
Best way to do it is win this round and make amends.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about personnel, because you look at the brain house that did not have this illustrious unanimous vote, and who cares? Exactly.
But they were honest. They were just very forthcoming about what they were doing to all the nominees very early. I think as soon as Louise and Megs, regardless of what Madison was doing, and I think that this is where Megs misplayed it, is that she oversold how much she wanted to vote in the majority, but also it be unanimous early on. As soon as she and Louise had this epiphany about what they should do, they should immediately be telling Rizzo, hey, here is what we're wanting to do and why. And they even said that. Louise even says, like, this is what we should do right now. We should tell Rizzo, and they don't. So I don't know why they didn't do that, but I think that's the creation of all this other discord.
All this crap, but basically we leave this situation with Megs not wanting to work with Madison at all, very skeptical about Victoria and Rizzo in terms of their long-term relationship, and good reads, because all three of them want nothing to do with Megs leaving the end of day 4 coming into day 5. They all don't want to work with her over something. Like, again, I'm not blaming. I understand why they're upset, but also in the grand scheme of things, this is stupid to be like this irrationally upset. Like, Rizzo and Madison really liked Megs to the point that they've dropped her to the point they would have nominated her is a bit of an overreaction, in my opinion. Like,
I don't think that actually would have happened. I don't think that Rizzo actually would have talked to Megs. I think that they would, or nominated her. I think that they would have talked.
One could hope. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction because there are people in this game they have no relationship with. So the fact that they are taking this so harshly to the point that they like she's in the bottom 2 of their trust rankings is a bit much for me. But I'm not saying it's should drop, but not that much.
I could have still seen Rizzo kind of being like, "Oh, I need to do it for like face value, but I'll take you off eventually." And even if he meant that, that's still dangerous. So I could still see her going up and that being his like sticker about it or whatever.
I think Rizzo is not a risk taker, and I think that if he was wanting to put Megs up, he knows you don't take that kind of shot unless you want her to leave. I think he evaluates and says, "She ain't leaving. I ain't putting her up."
Well, she didn't come into day 5 in the best of positions. There was other people who also would have nominated her, so we'll see. But Rizzo supposedly will get to it as long as Megs does not put him up on the block. He will call it even, and they're going to be Gucci moving forward. We'll see how true that will be, but we'll get to that. The other really big storyline that comes out of the end of the duel is Frankie's goodbye message to Lamont and Erica, basically saying, here's what I was told. I called Lamont out. Lamont denied all of it. So either Erica, you blatantly lied to me, or Lamont's blatantly lying about you. So y'all can figure that out. Kisses, goodbye. So Erica and Lamont have to hop on a call where Erica apologizes for telling Frankie about the situation and mentioning Lamont's name after Lamont asked her to not talk about it anymore. While Lamont's frustrated because Lamont doesn't think he ever said anything to Erica that Erica's claiming that she told Frankie. Erica's also claiming that she never told Frankie she was safe under her HOH. There's a lot of things being claimed here about miscommunications. It's a bit strange. They all said the shit that's being claimed. They all did.
Yeah, I've never seen like a snowball effect quite like that, where it was, seeming a whole lot of nothing, rolled down the hill and got bigger and bigger. And I was thinking about that scenario through the lens of through Sarah, who is like coming into this game, and then all of a sudden you're hit with like this small group and this big drama that you're like, whoa, what did I just step myself into? And that's not like, anyway, I just thought it was interesting, and I don't know what it will turn into going forward, but it's a whole lot of something.
I think regardless of what was said, the fact that it is admitted that Lamont said to Erica not to say anything about what he told her means that there was something he didn't want Frankie to know that he was saying. So regardless, there is something that you're saying kind of crass about someone else that you don't want to get out, or you want to test someone. And so I think that maybe Lamont has just convinced himself that he didn't say anything, but whatever he said clearly was not meant to be shared, and therefore is kind of shady.
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter if it was real or not. The issue is it's out in the ether. So his best thing is for it to just drop dead, so that in the off chance that Frankie still goes out but comes back from the dual twist, he has plausible deniability instead of getting read for filth and then dying, coming back to life, being read for filth again, and then putting professional emails out to the main chat to say that everything's squashed.
Oh my god, my favorite thing was Lamont's response, because I had to post Frankie's goodbye message because he's obviously removed from he lost his player role when he was evicted pre-duel, so I had to post it on behalf of him. So when I get a reply in the main chat, I'm like, oh god, what is this? Like, why am I being tagged? It's never a great thing to feel like, oh great, someone's gonna bitch about something. And then no, it's Lamont's response to the goodbye message, and it says nothing. Like, he typed out 50 words that say absolutely nothing. He says, hey everyone, Eric and I just had a conversation about the situation and have addressed the issue. I felt it was important to speak with her personally. To Erica, thank you for engaging in this conversation and sharing your perspective. I genuinely appreciate that. Says nothing about the situation, says nothing about who's lying, says nothing at all. Everyone's like, what was the point of this?
And meanwhile, you message Erica and you're like, Erica, are you okay? And she's like,
Like, I will give Lamont credit. Like, on day 5, some people in the morning were like, so what's really going on? And he fully took the opportunity to blame Erica. He's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
Erica took all responsibility for this. So, like, we're good, but Erica took all responsibility. Kind of saying
Has
that
that
she
gotten
lied.
back to Erica?
Eric hasn't been told that he's kind of continuing that. It's unfortunate because Lamont's really good about spinning a narrative. Did Erica apologize for her actions that led to this? Yes. Is Erica owning that she lied about this entire situation? No. But Lamont fully is trying to convince people that Erica is taking blame for all of this. So it's just again another situation that just didn't need to get to this point because truly Lamont didn't say Frankie's going to nominate you. All he said was check in with Frankie. You might want to go check in with Frankie, and this caused this entire spiral whirlwind that we're dealing with. So mess, and more
I'm here
mess.
for it.
I will say, I think the only people that this matters anything to are Lamont and Erica.
Okay,
I
I
don't
was
think-
going to ask.
I don't think anyone else cares because it didn't affect anyone else. Like, if anything, whatever happened kept the other people in that team safe. If you weren't on that team, who the fuck cares? It's just, I don't see any other person caring in the slightest. The only other time I saw it brought up was Preston and Lamont have a call yesterday. And Preston was like, oh, when Frankie lost the duel, when the stream ended, he was like, take out Lamont for me, but I won't do that. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's okay. We know Preston was going for this HOH to do that anyway, so. But yeah, it's like it doesn't matter so much who it was going for. It's like it only will care for the other players when either Erica or Lamont have power, or if there's an opportunity to throw those two under the bus and put both of them on the block, have that infighting distract for a round while you have other things going on. Like that's the only time where this will really matter, and it also probably helps swell up the whole like, be careful what you say to Lamont. Lamont will twist your words. Like all that narrative's gonna come out eventually.
I was going to say, like, even Erica doesn't seem to be caring. Like, it seems like it's really Lamont who's spinning the narrative. Erica doesn't seem to be like giving it much weight, and maybe I'm just not seeing things, but like she's pretty set on a lot of other things. Yeah, now she has beef with Lamont, I guess, but other than that, no one who she was already starting to talk to and trust are now like, oh well, this shit happened, so can't trust Erica anymore. So it's really Lamont. Like,
Well,
it'll affect
and
Erica.
the comment Dan made, I think, supports that, is that Lamont already had that reputation with his season. Those people came in skeptical of Lamont already. And so, if anything, it probably just gives support to some of the things. Like when Megs is immediately telling people you need to fact check Lamont, and immediately he's involved in some kind of scandal. I don't think it personally affects any of those people, but they're thinking probably like, I want to make sure I'm very careful in how I choose my words with Lamont so that nothing can be twisted. It doesn't mean that he's out to get me or that I need to target him. I just need to watch what I say.
Well, and there's 17 people with a ping pong balling amount of targets around in this game. So like, truly, like more than like, I feel like a lot of seasons where these big groups form or these sides form or these kind of factions form. And there's some of that, like you have 17 people who all have very specific agendas pretty much. Like everyone, like yesterday as the day went on of HOHs, it's like, oh, what would this person do is vastly different than what this person would do. So all that to say, the Lamont and Erica of it all, most people who are unaffected by it, and until they become affected by it, unless they want to be proactive in removing the issue, can honestly say, you guys fight in your little corner over there. We're going to stay over here and play the rest of the game.
Yeah, all this in for it. Yeah, like mostly, yeah, just it was a reminder that you got to be careful around Lamont, and I am a little surprised as it regards to Erica. We'll get to Meg's HOH and her initial communication, but basically it was like, Erica, I want your wisdom, I want your opinions, I want your advice, and Erica did not immediately via text say, Lamont, please. So clearly there's something still salvageable there between them. So
I think it kind of helps both of their games in the short term anyway, because I think like Meg's immediately saying like I'm not going to target anyone for my season, blah blah blah. I think that if people see that as beef between them, it's that very classic like, well, I'm not going to target Lamont, Erica will. I'm not going to target Erica, Lamont will. And so I think it kind of shields them both in the short term, as long as those people are not doing anything that offends anyone else.
So we'll see. But Erica did have a little bit of a tiff with someone else who did drop in the rankings because of it. It is the fact that Jabbar voted to evict Nikki, but never told her. So as soon as the vote count came out, she messaged Nikki being like, "That's some bitch throwing a rogue vote." And Nikki's like, it was Jabbar. Did you not know? And she goes, "Wait a minute, what?" She's like, "He told everyone that he was evicting me. He told me before the veto results that he was evicting me." And Erica was like, "Oh, so everyone knew but me." So Erica's upset that she didn't know the vote was going to be 2-1. Jabbar, I guess, just never clued in Erica because she's the HOH and like nothing Erica can do about it. So just thought that was funny.
Did Erica ever state a preference for what she wanted to happen?
No, because that's the thing. Like she had I think coming in, she wanted Frankie to stay. God, people fucking screaming at 8 a.m. Mr. Mountain Time, screaming at 9
It's the
a.m.
morning.
Tell those people to calm down. She wanted Frankie to stay immediately because she didn't even want to even nominate him. But as time went on, Frankie wasn't around. Nikki's promising to like let bygones be bygones. So like Erica's like, well, Nikki's promising me that she doesn't care anymore as long as she stays. Frankie isn't talking to me or campaigning, so it kind of like went right into the middle 50-50 and just stayed out of it. And Jabbar very much said when he said he was going to evict Nikki, he said, "I'm not going to try and convince the house of anything." He's like, "That's my preference. If the house wants to save her, let them. But like, I'm going to vote her out. I'm going to explain my reasonings, but I'm not going to spend hours campaigning to get her gone." Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was just kind of funny and stupid.
Kind of a two-parter. A, did Jabbar do it on purpose, or did it just kind of like, oh, fuck, I forgot? I assume it's the latter.
I just think he forgot.
I don't think it, like, I don't think we'll know for sure, but I based off of like how open he is, you don't typically purposely try and hide it from someone. If you're literally telling the person you're evicting before veto results that you're evicting them, like that doesn't happen.
I feel like the last person you're thinking about telling is the HOH how you're voting, especially when the HOH is not vocalizing a preference. Like,
and there's no tiebreaker.
And he didn't care. Like he wasn't like Carl said, he wasn't advocating for Frankie to stay. He just said, "I personally am doing this. I don't care what happens." So I don't think
second
really
part, was Erica potentially more upset just because I know they've had kind of like a history of beef? I don't know the history from their season, but I know they played Voyage together. But like, was Erica potentially more upset about it because of their past relationship, or was it like, oh, anyone would have done this, or she would have been mad about anyone doing it?
I feel like they've regarded each other pretty high here up until. I mean, I still think Jabbar thinks fairly high-ish. Like, I mean, I think they're always going to come in, again, skeptical of one another because of the past games. But I don't think either has actively done anything against the other here in this game, or even like talked about it. I think that they worked really well together in the team configuration. So this kind of feels, again, like we've talked a little bit about some overreactions, and I think this is something in the moment that's probably an overreaction, but I'm more concerned about the fact that Erica's voicing that to Megs, because when you look at who Megs trusts, like Jabbar and Erica are both right up here. And so if that causes tension between, I think it could be interchangeable who is in that one spot right now. I think it's probably Jabbar and then Erica, but it could be either one depending upon the day you look at it. So that could be really tough for Megs in the future.
I was also going to say Megs is only in one alliance right now, and it's Sarah and Erica. So that also might boost Erica up and be like, it's a little bit more okay, yeah, like I'm close with Jabbar, but this is an alliance right now, and it's an alliance Megs actually wants to be in from the sounds of it.
Other fun things in the aftermath, we have Caro and some others are starting to really figure out how popular Trey is. Becoming a less and less hidden secret that Trey is very popular amongst the cast members, and Caro and both Liv have really tried to prioritize things that include him, and I think they're both starting to realize, oh, this is way easier to get people on board with things that involve Trey than they initially thought it would, based because they came from Team Braun, where Trey was not in a great position and they had to work really hard to try and keep Trey. Now coming into the bigger house of everyone, they're realizing that Trey just had an unfortunate configuration to start because the other house would have been great for him. So Trey's starting to be clocked a little bit as actually the social threat. Everyone keeps saying that Preston's the social threat of the cast.
Which is funny that Caro's the one who's mentioning that, because it's like every time I see Caro brought up, everyone has her in their like top 5. It seems like, or at the very least, she is not low on anyone's list.
Playing
Like,
a very dangerous game.
I was gonna say it kind of I feel like it kind of reminds me of my 16 game where I was just clocked for being close with that, but being in too many alliances and being with everyone. Not that it was on purpose, but like
I'm very worried for her.
I'm less nervous. She's been here. She's done that. Like people will know it, but something is always going to happen with these characters in this specific cast that you're gonna look at Caro and be like, yeah, she's a threat. She's good with everyone. Trey's a threat. He's good with everyone. But then you have a situation like a Lamont and Erica pop up, or you know, only takes one outburst from someone, and then you're not looking that way anymore, and it's 3 rounds later.
And I agree with Lee. Here's why I'm nervous for Caro, because let me break down the alliances that are currently in the game, and let me break down for you the alliances that are supposed to be incoming into the server in the next couple of days based off of people's chats, diary rooms, all that fun stuff. The confirmed alliances in the game: MTV, Megan, Trey, Victoria; Black Coffee, Lamont, Jabbar, Trey; Whoop Whoop, Preston, Caro, Liv, Not for Lee, Preston, Megan, Trey; Daddy's Home, Trey, Megan, Caro; the Triple Threat Femmes, Megs, Erica, Sarah; the Cajun Angels, Liv, Michael, Caro; the Josh Pit, Megan, Erica, Preston; No Scrubs, Trey, Liv, Caro. Alliances that are coming: Rizzo, Madison, Preston as a trio. They might add in Liv as a quad. Trey, Lamont, Caro / Rizzo / Jabbar. So some type of like Black Coffee, add in Rizzo, add in Caro kind of situation. A pre-jury alliance. And now let me break down the rest of these. Caro, Trey, Louise; Caro, Trey, Megan and Jabbar; Caro, Trey, Lamont; Caro, Trey, Jabbar; Caro, Liv, Lamont; Caro, Rizzo, Michael; Caro, Rizzo, Megan; Caro, Victoria, and literally anyone that is literally written in the diary room. Caro wants an alliance with Victoria and someone on the cast. She wants so much.
It's too much. It's too much.
I think that she will be. She's playing a game that will be okay in the pre-jury era potentially, but I think when things get into like thinking about threat levels and stuff like that, or who's too connected or who's a friend to everyone, like she's gonna get clocked. I think she's playing, or at least approaching to play, the same game now that Preston was targeted for in the first round. And I worry for her severely.
Yeah, I think at some point, I forget just post jury, like it does not take much for a communication to slither its way through the house that Caro is in everything and is trying to do everything and is in every cookie jar. Like, I mean, we just took, I think, a good minute and a half. And I think you said Caro's name in every single group. It felt like, you know, for the most part. And that's not, it's not good.
No. And she's in her prod chat, like, and I don't want to like be mean, but she's in her prod chat, kind of being like, "Woe is me!" Like I'm being pulled in so many directions. You're pulling yourself into like the call's coming from inside the house by my love.
Well,
Pulled in so many directions, and I want all these things to happen the way I want them to happen.
Where this is going to begin to get clocked is Michael slipped on his call with Louise yesterday that he was on a call with Caro and Liv together.
Yep.
And what that is worrisome about is that Louise is someone who comes in pre-connected to Caro, very much wanting to work with her here. And not to get too far ahead, but just told Megs the same thing.
Yep. I was gonna say she's on call with Megs right now.
And told Megs that Michael slipped up that he was on that 3-way call. And these are people who want Meg or want Caro to be like their number one. And when you see people like that, I'm curious because you can either just target that person, feel burned, or you start targeting their allies and be like, I want to make you mine.
But that's what we're going to see. Funny. That's what we're going to see. We're not going to see people take the shot at Caro. We've seen it time and time again. Like I feel outside of like a few different people from like the past like 5 seasons, the person who's being like going into all these little alliances, I like the fact that they're smaller and not a bunch of big alliances because I think that's different. Because by making a lot of smaller alliances, it's a little more intimate. Even though you have a lot, people are always going to be like, well, I'm going to just take out the other people because I want you to be focused with me. So like I just have full confidence if there's anyone who can talk themselves out of the situation, it's Caro. Like Caro's not going to get flustered the way that other people on this cast will get flustered.
What's going to be hard for her is when someone puts her in a position to choose between her allies, and her allies are becoming everyone. And so when she has to vote between people that she is in alliances with, and then they're like, why did you not choose me when we're in an alliance? That's where I'm worried for her.
I think it's really funny that Caro was the one who kept saying, oh, Michael will unintentionally leak things, and what is potentially going to happen to her is Michael accidentally leaked something against her.
Oh, he did.
Because I don't think, like, because he said it to Louise, I don't think he's going to get in trouble for it. I think it's going to be Liv, and, like, Louise is going to know this is just Michael. He didn't say anything on purpose. He still likes me. He's like, I don't think Michael's going to get in trouble for it unless it gets, like, Louise is going to see Liv and Caro and be like, excuse me, what the hell?
Yeah.
Well, he might get in trouble for it if he's on the block.
Oh, he will be. We'll get there. Oh, he will be. Sorry to the Michael stands out there. He will be. To continue the Michael of it all. I mean, Michael also finds himself in an interesting situation because Megan officially finds out from Caro to Jabbar to her that Michael actually didn't prefer her to stay. She kind of already like felt it in her gut that he actually didn't want her to stay and actually preferred Preston, but he definitely told Megan to her face that he wanted her to stay. So it finally coming out that he never did. He actually preferred Preston, but didn't get his way because Caro and Trey flipped it. Made its way to Megan. He owned up to it, so I'll give him that. When he was on call with her yesterday, he owned it. He said, "Oh yeah, I didn't know. I preferred Preston." So like, good on that. But I think the issue here is that Michael told us that he feels really bad for lying to both Megan and Preston and wants to make it up to them. He says, I'm going to make it up to them. When Megan and Preston don't really care about Michael right now. They're not like irrationally angry with him, but they're not going to protect him. And Michael's over here with an initiative to make it up to them. When if he's on the block, they will both evict him happily while he's over here.
Michael to Caro's game is like the perfect example of a fall guy. He is the person that they can puppeteer up there in front, make the moves for them, and then also take the fall for the moves that they made. And it didn't help that he was kind of over promising things, and so it does make him look incredibly guilty for how some of the things went down in that team, house, or whatever we want to call it. So he really is the perfect fall guy, and the thing is Caro knew that from the jump.
So it'll be interesting to see kind of how those relationships work out, because Michael likely will be on the block by the end of the day, and kind of see like, did he overplay his HOH to the point that now he's lost both of those voters? Because Preston and Megan aren't touching the block this round, so they'll definitely be voting. So I think that will just be very interesting to see. Let's hop into the HOH. It's the Reverse It Challenge. It's a new take on cup jumps, and we came in knowing that everyone had different agendas. People like there was a few people who would nominate Megs. Madison was a pretty talked about target. Really, everyone had different personal agendas. You had people who felt scorned from their house internally. With Madison, Rizzo, Victoria all felt scorned from within their own house. You had people who had beef across houses because they felt like they were ignored. Like Jabbar wanted to target people like Louise and Preston and Liv, who didn't really talk to him too much. So you just see all these different agendas coming out, which makes this HOH super interesting because whoever wins dictates how this round goes when a different outcome leads to a completely different result. Like, I mean, the fact that our top two people were Megs and Rizzo would have nominated Megs, supposedly, so he says, but Megs ends up edging him out by 4 reverse hits. So just really fun to see all these different personal agendas coming out and seeing all the different ways this game can like progress depending on who decides that they really want it.
I think Megs did need this HOH. I think this was a good HOH for her to win. I don't think that she needed it in the sense of like she was going to be evicted this round if Rizzo won, but I think that she needed it in the sense of she can clear the air and have like, because if he won, put her up, she stays, or there's a tiff, like it's only going to be bad for both of their long-term games, whereas they can kind of repair this. She can repair whatever with Victoria, repair with Madison, or see maybe through what's not repairable. And so she's comparing stories, so she's hearing like what is Louise saying that she said in her talks with Rizzo and Madison and so on and so forth. And I think that this is good for her to just kind of set things straight, come out of this very clean, keep a promise to everyone she says is safe, and go about it. Like, I don't think to Megs, I don't think it's truly important for her who ends up leaving. It's just that she comes out of this with everyone feeling like this was a clean HOH for her.
No, and see, I want the opposite. I want instead. I mean, for fun, but like, I don't need her to repair. I need her to declare war on these people because, like, I need her to find out that Rizzo was said. I would love. He said to Caro, I was going to put up Megs. Like, so that is out in the ether. Will that spread?
I don't think Caro's going to out him for that.
No, of course not.
She just said it. She just said she's now on call with Megs. Caro just messaged her prod chat being like, "I'm worried Rizzo can go up. I need to protect him at all costs."
Yeah.
So, and Louise has even said like protect Rizzo. He can be a shield for us. I think that is the right leaning for all of that. But I also think Megs needs to maybe make another grouping because she's talked about Louise. Like, she needs to not just protect Rizzo, she needs to bring him into the fold of something, or else this is a half measure for her.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide, like, as I watched Megs a little bit last night, like, she is very good at collecting information, but she is hesitant to give her opinion as much. Yeah. And I think there has to be a little bit more give with the take. And I was just trying to think of like, and the reason I say that is because like you just don't want, if you're Megs, you don't want to just receive information and not also influence the game. Instead, she may inadvertently influence it in ways she doesn't want to influence it by just taking the information and then spreading that information instead of saying some of her own thoughts and opinions. I was kind of wrestling with that last night a little bit.
Which is interesting because I feel like that was one of her bigger strengths from like my perspective of her as a competitor in 17 was Megs and I were never actually aligned, but we liked each other. We tried to be candid with each other, and she would give me a little, but make it feel like it was a lot. So I would leave that conversation and others would leave those conversations with Megs feeling like, okay, I gave her a good amount, but she did give me something back. I feel like there's something workable there. And it was night one of the HOH. I could see her throughout the day enacting her thing of like, let me see if I put this little thing out there if more comes out. And then I think from there, she will be more willing to give more of an opinion.
Yeah, she has said on a couple of calls, like, I am not going to nominate anyone from my original team. So whether or not she sticks to that, because she has not said to those people. So she's not said to like Rizzo, Madison, Victoria. She's not said, I am not nominating you. You are safe. But I think that it's saying that she is really wanting to make this work and come out of this making this work. And I think she's trying to find, for the people that are outside of her original team who she does not feel close with, she's trying to find, I guess, like that affirmation that putting those people up would be okay. Like, I think she got that. I think she got that from Jabbar. Oh yeah, she did talk to Victoria last night, so she did say it to Victoria. But I think she even said to Jabbar, like, I'm thinking of putting up Liv, and Jabbar's like, that's who I would have done as well. So I think finding those little affirmations are only going to help cement those nominees. I'd be very surprised if Liv does not find herself on the wall this round.
I think it's all but locked up at this point. I mean, I think the fact is Megs wanted advice from people that she cared about and she liked, and all of them have been supportive of it. Some people, we'll get into the specifics, but so far no one has said untouchables are Michael and or Liv, and therefore that's all the care that Megs needs. She doesn't like need anymore. Like, yeah, she has a preference right now in Liv, but that could easily change as time goes on. Like, Megs isn't really that pressed about. It's not results oriented for her. It's about the journey that she gets from these nominations versus the end result of someone moving. That's way less important to her. She more so cares about building those bonds, building those bridges. So, like, her sharing her preference, because she doesn't really have one. Like, her sharing more information because she doesn't really have any more information to share. So ultimately, like, Megs has nothing to give and everything to take, and she's taken everything she can get at this point. Like, so I think this is great for her.
The fun thing is that the whole idea of keeping her team safe wasn't even her idea. It was Jabbar's. Jabbar said, I think you need to keep your team safe. And I don't know if that was just in an effort to like protect Victoria and Rizzo, because I know that he wants them both to be here for a while. So I don't know if that was like his subconscious saying that, or if it's just like you should operate under that parameter. But she really ran with that logic after he said that, and that was advice he gave her without just agreeing with her. So I think that that's really important to her, that someone gave her something to go with.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into it kind of, because we asked for most people's trust rankings before the HOH was crowned, just to kind of have a rough idea of kind of what we would expect if they were to be HOH. We always love having kind of that insider tea, so as soon as they get crowned, we kind of know, because this cast loves to all call at the same time. So it's good to know kind of, all right, they're thinking about nominating these people. Maybe this call's less important, just to know where we can focus our time and attention on all these calls. So Megs had plenty of options to nominate. She really did. Like, she said, like, when she woke up on day 5 before she had competed in the HOH, she was like, if I had to nominate right now, I would do Nikki and Michael. She has no connection to Michael. She knows others really love Michael. And those are two that are just never going to work together. I'm so sorry to the Michael stands out there. Megs and Michael could not be more complete opposites. They're never going to work together.
Megs just told Caro that Michael slipped their alliance.
I was going to say, I saw that and I'm like, oh, fuck, that's about to be the nail in. Because we haven't quite gotten there, but it sounds like the noms are going to be Liv and Michael. And I was thinking, I'm like, oh, this might be one of the best options for Michael to be up against, because like people are going to have to pick they have a lot of similar allies, so like I think maybe people will pick Michael over Liv. And then I saw that and I'm like, oh fuck, never mind. Like, I think this might have been.
I think reverting back to what we were saying about Caro kind of, having this dangerous house of cards right now, is if she sees that one of those people she's tied to is being leaky, it's very good for her to let that person go.
Yep, and that's kind of what I alluded to on the evening tea we did earlier this week, is you can already see, as much as Liv and Caro still have Michael very high in their trust rankings, you can already start seeing them move away from him. As much as they want to include him, the path, it's very like, how do I want to say this? It's like Dora the Explorer with Boots. Like Dora will go where the hell she wants. They want to bring Boots along, but she doesn't need Boots. She don't need Boots.
What a wild comparison.
That's what it like. That's sadly the situation, though. It's like they want him there, but like if he doesn't join along, they're not going to be angry. Like the journey isn't dictated by Boots or by the involvement of Boots.
Yeah, I wish that Michael would unhitch his wagon in that regard, but he won't.
No,
and that's fine. But like, I can't even be mad at it, like from the two of them, because they want to include him. If I were to be mad at it, it'd be like, wow, you're so on your high horse that you just are like, oh, poor Michael, I can drag him along. And that's not, I don't think that's the posture that they have. So it's just, poor Michael a little bit here.
I mean, yeah, some wrong things happening, but again, that's Big Brother for you. The wrong HOH, the wrong thing said, the wrong person leaks something, and it's game over.
There's also no guarantee that Michael is a dead man walking here, especially if Liv is right next to him. That's a.
But I do think that like in a renom situation, I think Liv and Michael would leave next to whoever they were next to.
I think it would. I think there's a few people they could go up. Like if she ended up putting up Christian, I think there'd be a good chance they could survive.
I don't think she will.
I don't know who else I don't know who she.
I think of the people she's considering, I think Liv and Michael are cooked. One of them.
And I mean, like, look, we know. I was gonna say Liv is like known for spiraling, and people know how good she is. That might save Michael. I don't think he's a dead man walking, but I think. Getting back to Caro that he leaked, I went from I think Liv is more likely to go home to I think Michael is more likely to go home.
I also just think there's such an easy narrative to push of like we love that feel good story of someone getting a chance to beat their placement, especially if they went out extremely early, and you have people like Jabbar who loves Michael. I think Jabbar would not hesitate to yeet Liv out of the game if it's those two as final noms. And if you have a stronger player or a couple stronger players putting their opinion out there and not even pushing it as like, I need you to just be like, this is what I see. This is who I'm going to vote out. Even doing that could sway public opinion.
Michael's the perfect pawn. Like in this, like that Michael should not be the target here. Like he's harmless.
Yeah. And he's not the target.
Yeah.
He's not the target, but I can definitely see some people swinging to save Liv. And I don't want either one of them to leave here, but I'm really like I would be entertained and intrigued to see how a vote between them would go down because I don't think it would be unanimous by any.
When was Liv's first time on the block in 16? Because I think it was pretty late, wasn't it?
It's definitely jury phase.
Time to check the wiki.
I was thinking like I know it was jury phase.
I think they all happened late in the game.
My gut says it's probably somewhere in 10 to 8 range. It definitely was pretty late.
I was thinking it was.
Wasn't she up against Kelly?
Let's see here.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah. I think it was when Kelly
somewhere
went home.
in that range where
so
she offered to be up there because she knew Kelly would go.
Yeah, 9 probably.
Okay, that might have been.
Yeah.
Okay,
I see her up against Jimbo. Jimbo uses this is the round 8 of the game, and then ultimately against Kelly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the final 9.
I know too much.
Yeah, because I think that was a Jeff HOH, and it was the plan was to backdoor Kelly. I think the whole time. So.
But this nominate's also interesting because they also have a lot of the people that aren't getting nominated. Like both of them had plans of involving them both in certain configurations of alliances or groupings moving forward, especially Rizzo is like wants that. I'm also very curious to see if this is the path that happens. What are these players going to prioritize? Are they going to prioritize this season's game relationship? Because like one thing we saw with Erica in the game updates was I have a better game relationship as it stands right now with Michael. But I also feel bad because I have burned Liv multiple times in other stuff. I'm hoping that you put this game, because this is the game that's being played. Whatever game that you played in 2020 and March of 2021 does not matter in this game.
I think Liv was Rizzo's first call, where he assures her he wants to work with her, and then then he finds out Michael is like the older version of himself, and he and Michael have like become clones at this point.
I think my biggest worry is that I don't want people to be like, well, Liv is a shield. So is half the fucking cast.
Right.
Half the cast are shields for each other, and I'm lowballing it by saying half.
Yeah, there are 17 shields in this game or 16 shields left to the one eventual winner. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, I really hope people don't say that, because then we're just gonna like everyone's gonna be a shield, so no one's a shield. Like,
I think you can be more intentional. So it's like, I think in a season with like newer players, if Liv's reputation coming in, then you can say she's a shield. But I think different types of shields take place here. So like you see people talking about a shield that's really good at comps, or like maybe Preston becomes a shield because he had been kind of a social pariah in round one. But I think that the shield talk is going to really become more of a talk of stuff that's happened in this game so far, because like you said, Bridget, everyone is a shield. So you kind of have to find stuff that's circumstantial now to make people a shield, and not just based on reputation.
I have to dip out here in a second because I have to actually go do my job. So I do want to say yeah, right. I'm reserving judgment on how I feel like the season's going, because it is off to a nice start. But sometimes things can quickly turn in terms of the direction the ultimate season is going to go. But I'm optimistic. I think things are good. I think the fact that, like I said earlier, that ping pong ball of targets, that everyone has their own agenda. It seems like everyone is playing for their own agenda early, and there are enough like big people in this game that I don't think it will ever get stale. So I'm excited to see how things take shape, and excited to see what Megs does today. And I've got to peace out.
Bye. Yeah, I mean, I hate to have said that. I kind of called this a bit on the cast assessment, but I was nervous that the second Michael's up on the block against someone who's strong, people have to have that conversation of, is he an asset? He hasn't had the ability to have that strategy time with people. So people now have to have this decision, and that we're going to see a very similar storyline as to the Frankie and Nikki nom set. The majority, aka just Jabbar and Sarah, wanted to say Frankie, but in the end, Nikki wins the battle because Sarah actually sees viable assets with Nikki and doesn't see that with Frankie. And I'm worried we're going to see the same result of, well, I like Michael, but is he an asset to me? Especially if Caro goes around being like, I had one alliance with him and he leaked it. Like, he has nothing else. And if people were considering working with him, is that a red flag being like, oh, well, shit, he's in one alliance and managed to leak it, and we're only on day 6. So I'm worried he's going to have
really hoping
that trajectory that he had in 16. Loved, but ultimately evicted.
So I think what also hurt him with that eviction was we only had a couple of hours. It wasn't like a full day thing. It was, POV was played, announced, and then like 3 hours later, we were voting to evict. So I think it will help that he has more time this time around. Because I think there was because like looking back, and I'm remembering it wrong.
No, he only had like 5 hours.
Huh?
You're right. He only had like 5 hours.
No, but I was saying like I think there was more votes to potentially get rid of Luis, but everyone was like, well, we can't get rid of Luis. If we had had more time, I think there's a chance Luis potentially would have gone. I still think he would, like, most likely she would have stayed, but like I think there's a little bit more of a chance with more time.
Yeah, it was
It's
close
just rough with those quick windows.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I know I was potentially, like I could have changed my vote, and I was pretty solidly in the Luis camp at that time. But if I had more time and more conversations with Elise, I potentially would have changed my mind. So I think having more time will help him. But at the same time, I mentioned it in the VL, but I'm like, someone needs to see that Michael is a newbie and take him under their wing and just guide him. Because, like, and he's so loyal, he will do what you say.
He will like
But he
he's
still
like a
spills.
sponge.
That's the issue.
Yeah,
I know, but like someone just needs
I get your side of it, and like I'm pro Michael staying as well.
Mhm.
The issue is in an all returnee season, if I was on this season, would I want to try to have Michael like under my wing? I was a flop in my season, so he shouldn't want to be under my wing. But it's like, but do these players want to have to quote unquote babysit, be the teacher, be the like? I'm not only trying to do my own game, but now I have to feed the kid. I have to wash the kid. I have to have a working microwave in order to feed the kid and have them carry along.
and
Like
that's
at
how
some point, you're
Kiro's
gonna be
feeling.
like, that's expended energy that a lot of these players are not going to have the time for.
That's exactly how Kiro's
Fair.
playing, because like Kiro
I
is
still think
someone
so.
that's like, I don't have to prove anything coming back.
I'm like I get it, but also I'm like selfishly I love Michael.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
If
Selfishly, I love
something
Michael,
happens to him here, though, like I'm
Yeah,
a little
I do
more.
think him being up against Liv is one of his best chances of staying. I will give it like unless it was like another easy nom of like Christian or Madison, and in which case it would still be like who knows. I don't think there's anyone he 100% stays against. I think Liv is one of the top people he has a chance of staying against. If it was like him versus Caro, no fucking way he'd be gone.
Yeah, it's a better nonsense.
I'm a little more at peace if something happens, though, because at least this time, if he leaves, it's because of something he did wrong.
Yeah.
Like
I will say
Yeah,
there's a
like
little like bitter part of me that I'm like, it would be really fun to see him go or Liv go home against him after she was the reason he went home last time. That would be kind of a fun story arc.
Yeah. I think the thing that they always have the benefit of, though, is like, and something he didn't have the benefit of the last time is being the renom is really tough with a quick window, whereas being an original nom and having people already promise you things. We saw this happen with Drew and Trey, whereas Trey not only had a quick window, but people are already promising Drew their votes to stay, so you can't backtrack on it when you don't know the future. I don't think Michael will leave, but like, here's what I'm trying to say, because I already see the hate. But what I'm saying is Michael left due to really no fault of his own in 16. Like, he just got up there, unfortunate circumstances, but it would be way more fitting to see him leave because of something that he actually did wrong. Like, it would feel like, okay, like this is something happened and this is why. Like, we feel a little bit more like, okay, there's closure here. I want to see him get further than second round, but I understand why, like, now Caro's pissed and saying, like, I don't want to have to babysit him and handhold him and tell him that he shouldn't leak alliances.
You're like, why that's a bad thing. I mean, I'm looking.
This is also on them. Like, they knew what they were getting with him, and you have to get to Michael early, especially the BBH 16 people. I think more so than ever, especially with two of them being on the same house. It's like you needed to not just get in there, help him do his HOH. You also had to explain to him very quickly in a 10-minute call, this is what you have to do. These are the things you don't do. And then keep sprinkling it throughout the game. If this is something that you wanted to have around and you know this is an issue, don't just complain about this being a potential issue. You have to do the work to ensure that this doesn't become an issue.
That's the thing, though. In an all-star, like, that's the thing. In an all-stars
Yeah.
cast, sometimes you don't have time to be like to give him that grace. Sometimes you just gotta drop the weight and move on.
You really have to worry about yourself.
Yeah,
Oh, for sure.
So I'm intrigued. I mean, it seems like it's for sure going to be Liv and Michael being nominated at the end of the day here. I mean, talking about timing, we'll have noms at 8 o'clock tonight and then evictions 10 o'clock tomorrow. So, like, still the noms only have 24-ish hours. So it's still a pretty quick window as well. And Michael has no clue it's going to be him as of right now. So until they know, they can't really start campaigning. So Michael's going to still be on a shortened schedule as well in that sense. So, like, this house is still on a shortened schedule in terms of figuring out all of this shebang as well. So there is that factor. The house is I'm looking at the cast. Like, this cast is split. If these noms were to stay the same, like, it would be very, very close.
Would anyone give Michael a heads up of like what's happening?
I don't think so. I mean,
I
the only
think-
people who know, I don't think would.
The people who know also know in tandem that he's leaked something. So
That's the thing.
I feel like I'd be too afraid. Whereas like Liv has the advantage of she doesn't know, but like she knows. She's like, I have every reason to believe in. Maybe it's the paranoia, but if she can mentally prepare herself to be nominated, that's already an advantage for her here. Like this is where some of her paranoia is going to pay off for her, I think, because she's not going to be ultimately surprised. She can handle conversations then well after that. She can already stay focused on how do I stay.
Yeah, and she's gonna get like I think Caro is gonna tell her like if she even tells her because of the like I think Caro is gonna end up telling Liv pretty quick about the leak, if not before noms. As soon as she finds out it's Liv, she's like, here's a piece of information against Michael to get you to stay.
Caro
Like
has
that's
already
gonna be
messaged.
immediate.
Caro's message Liv saying we need to call ASAP today. I'm assuming that's more so about the leak rather than the fact that she's going to go up. But maybe Caro also tells her that. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But let's talk about possibility of renoms because Megs came in with plenty of options. She came in thinking maybe Nikki Michael as noms. She's obviously going to do Michael and Liv because she has no connection to either of them. But like, sure, she has promised Victoria to not nominate her house, but she still does not feel good with Christian about the HOH that he held in the bubbly house. She knows that Rizzo and Madison have been talking shit. She knows.
She seems a little more burned by Madison in it, from what I'm seeing. And maybe it's just the fact that she's careful because she knows that more of the people she wants to work with want to work with Rizzo. And so that could be part of it. But she definitely seems to talk more negatively about Madison.
Well, it could just be runoff because Madison was a voter last round, and Megs is putting some of that blame of how the end of that vote happened on Madison, and Madison like in her
and she should
not
she
being
should.
around. Yeah,
And that's the thing. Like, yeah, Madison had actual agency in all of this, and also a big problem in all of this is Megs called Madison crazy and chaotic. It got back to her. And she's been telling others that she's upset that she was called crazy and chaotic. So like that also it's one thing to have people against you because of a game decision. It's another thing for people to and Megs isn't bullying or like name calling or any of that. Like fully Megs was just saying based on what just happened in the last 45 minutes, Madison is chaotic and crazy. Like that's all she was trying to say. So I think when Madison is saying things like that, it becomes slightly more personal than just a game thing. Obviously, we know it's nothing personal; it's all game. But like Madison is much younger than Megs. Madison is still very young and was upset by that comment. She was upset by the comment, and I think when you start putting those emotions in, I see why Megs is more upset with Madison because then it starts to become more of a personal discussion of like why are these two at each other's throats. So Madison could still be a renom as much as Megs is saying I'm not going to nominate anyone from Bubbly.
I truly think the bubbly house will be fine. And I think especially after hearing about the Louise call, like Louise is very much assuring Megs, like these are just miscommunications we need to straighten out. Like things will be fine. I truly think that bubbly group will not touch the block.
I would
and
tend
I think
to
most of them will get over it.
I would tend to agree, but again, her options are very limited for a renom because she's also saying she's not going to nominate anyone from her initial season, which takes Lamont and Nikki off the board, who are also two people that were options for her. Her and Lamont have never really seen eye to eye. They still kind of have lingering beef from BBH20. Her number one ally, well, she's got multiple number one allies, but who I truly think is her number one ally, and Erica, has a good reason to get rid of Lamont. And she also was considering Nikki when she woke up on day 5, and now apparently is like, I won't touch anyone from 17. So those now are off the board, supposedly, which then leaves us to Trey.
I was gonna say, I think it's interesting that she's targeted. I think it's on accident. Like, I don't think it's because they're all from a season 4, like the same season. But it's interesting that our first 2 noms are going to be from 16, and she's saying no 17. I really think that might end up becoming a narrative, not even on purpose. I don't think like the 16ers and the 17ers are staying together because on purpose because they want to. I think that narrative might end up getting pushed. because of just like little things that keep happening. The little alliance for like 3 16ers ending up in the same house and the house that happened to be the most chaotic. If people look at this and be like, wait, why isn't Meg's nominating anyone from her OG house or from her OG season? Little things like that I could see kind of happening.
I do think one we haven't talked about is Trey really as a renom option or a nom option.
She just has no connection to him, and
I think Trey absolutely stays if she puts him up.
Absolutely.
And I think Trey is the death sentence to either Liv or Michael if they sit next to him.
Yeah, it's over. And that's the only renom option that she's left for herself on the table.
I think it's a fine option.
I mean, if she is to find out, I mean, again, it depends how much she's wanting this. Like, Trey's an amazing renom to send home an initial nom if that's what makes it wanting, but everyone loves Trey. That's not necessarily someone I would want to make upset this early.
Yeah, she has her own reasons though, because I don't think she knows how much everyone loves Trey, but I know that like she not only doesn't feel the connection to Trey, but Caro very much tried to force this alliance with Trey when Trey wouldn't talk to Megs, and so Megs kind of feels burned by Trey in that regard. So like it makes sense why she would do it.
Oh, for sure. But again, that's the thing. You have to, when everyone loves Trey and you nominate Trey, be prepared for the blowback of it. So, I mean,
do you think so? I don't think though that like everyone loving Trey and you nominating Trey, like say Caro wins HOH, who loves Trey, thinks he's hung the sun and the moon and the stars. Like she's not going to nominate Megs in retaliation for that.
No, but that's the thing though, is that now Trey is going to make you choose. If you're someone like Caro who loves Trey and Megs, he's going to make you choose. Like, are you going to go with me or are you going to go with her? And that goes for people like Erica and anyone else that kind of sits and likes them both. You're going to have to make a decision. And that's not good for people like Caro. She doesn't want to have to make a decision. She wants all of them. So they don't want infighting on the people that they all see as allies for them. So like I think it's bad for other people's games for the sole fact that those two will then not work together anymore. But
how long is Meg's gonna have for a renom if it were to happen? Because I know you said it's a pretty quick turnaround, but like how much time is she gonna have?
She'll have like 2 or 3 hours to figure it out.
Okay, she needs to start talking about her renoms pretty quick then. Because, if it's Trey, she might be shooting herself in the foot by accident.
Yeah, and I mean, Liv's a good competitor. Megs is a good competitor as well. So, like, it's not a guarantee we'll have a renom. Who knows who'll get pulled for the veto. But, yeah, I just think Megs has kind of, by trusting Jabbar's judgment on keeping her initial house safe, I think she's really limited herself here. For the renom option. I understand Meg's intention here is to rebuild those bridges by targeting an ally of them versus targeting them directly. But I think in terms of renom, she really has limited herself in that regard because realistically, she had 3 really good options within her own OG house to nominate.
Who were her 3?
Even 4, honestly.
4. I was going to say, I was like, I think the only one she'd be doing would be bad for her was Louise.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I just think she's there.
It is kind of like an enigma to me that she really doesn't talk about Rizzo as an option. But I think it has to be like, I'm just reading through here. It has to be just the way people talk about Rizzo. She probably thinks there's no way he's leaving in that configuration.
Well, but the thing though is, I think Megs wants to right the wrong. She never would have evicted Rizzo.
I do too.
She was really high on Rizzo and really wants to make sure that they can move forward from this. But like, if she was to find out that he was like super against her, then maybe she'd be like, well, I guess this is dead. But she thinks that that's salvageable.
I think even if you hear that though, you can kind of salvage that and be like, yeah, the way she's self-aware to know like the way I played that was not great.
But again, I live in the realm of like, really, we're being dramatic here. Like, Rizzo, you had a great call with Megs. You loved Megs, and now she's in your bottom 2, and you nominate her over this. You're being dramatic.
I mean, and the thing is, even if she hears that Rizzo is going to nominate her, she's hearing like 90% of the conversations of like Louise and this person being like, Rizzo speaks really highly of you. So
I was going to say, Rizzo and like Meg's really liked Rizzo right off the bat, and I think she fits the narrative of like his typical allies in a lot of ways, and in some ways better, because of the people who I can think of who were his close allies, none of them were phenomenal comp people. Meg,
Gambling white men? What's his archetype for allies?
I think Preston may have just buried Michael as well.
Who?
I think
Preston. She said to Preston, "You're safe," and he said, "That's what Michael said too." She said, "Wait, Michael told you were safe?" He said, "Yeah." Then he nominated me.
I don't think that matters too much.
But I don't think that's going to make her not nominate him.
Oh
no, I think it'll like hurt him a little bit, but that's one that's can easily like I need someone to let Michael know that Preston was going to nominate him. That's going to get like if anyone looks at that house, like yeah, Michael promised him, but I'm like that's one that for me I'm like so. I'd be more worried about the league if I was in that cast. I'd be like the league would actually concern me a lot. I was promised safety and then not by Michael. Like some people I'd care, but by Michael I'd be like he probably was like having a mental crisis about who to nominate anyway. Like I'm still here, who cares?
So, but that's all we have in terms of everything that happened. Ryan, I know you came on. Anything you want to say about Michael or anything?
No, I think this is a bad HOH for Megs. I think that doing something as passively as Liv and Michael is stupid. Like, you very clearly have people who are rubbing you the wrong way. Why not just take the jab and then put up, like, if you're worried, if you want Liv to leave and you know Liv has these connections, why not put Liv against a connection who could win the comp and take Liv down? Like, you're putting up Michael, who's going to be close to a non-entity in that competition. I hope Liv comes down.
Well, that's the thing. Meg last night said she was worried Michael could win the veto. So clearly there's a misperception from
clearly
Michael,
there's some misunderstandings. Yeah, listen, that's clear as day, Carl. Okay, that's clear by the fact that the noms are going to be Liv and Michael. Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's that hard for her to believe that Michael might do well. He got like top 5 in the last HOH. He won the first HOH. He didn't do super well in the math challenge, but like that's like of what she's looking at, Michael isn't a non-threat by any means.
Bridget, Michael got HOH in his house with like a 7th of the score of the top 2 of
but
the
she doesn't know that. How is she gonna know that?
And maybe that's where the issue lies. But like I don't know. I just don't get this tiptoeing around Rizzo. I don't understand from Rizzo's part either, and how you can go from just pissed as hell at each other from this last round to being like, no, actually, we're gonna go all the way, and I'm fine if you weaken my allies. Like, how is Rizzo gonna look at these two allies and these two noms and Liv and Michael and be like, no, me and Megs are still chilling. Like, this isn't personal against me at all. Like, she would never like. Liv and Michael, I don't talk about them or anything. Like, I'm fine. This isn't personal. Like, get a grip. Come on.
It's classic returner games, though, because, like, this Cold War stuff that's precedented.
Yes, sorry, if you're right. If by boring gameplay you mean classic returner game, then yeah, I agree completely.
Yes. Is they want to do the thing, like, people at KG, like, you even see this in, like, Survivor or Big Brother, like, returner seasons. People do KGer moves in the beginning for the most part. Because they just want to not rock the boat as much. And so they think, like Megs thinks, oh, if I just take out one of Rizzo's allies, we gonna be great.
I think we'll have a better semblance of if this HOH was good for her tomorrow, like midday. Like, let's see how Victoria and Madison and Rizzo are taking the noms, how they're feeling. If she's won them over, then she's done her job.
Mm-hmm.
If it ends with Rizzo leaving, I think it's a great round for Megs.
To be honest, like that should. I personally think that should be the move. Is like if you don't put Rizzo up initially.
There's very few people she's considering putting up that Rizzo would leave against. Like if she ends up putting up Madison and Rizzo, you think these people are going to evict Rizzo over Madison? Like half these people are just pissed that Madison hasn't talked to them.
No, but I think he almost leaves in a Rizzo live.
Yeah, I can see that. I think
it at least opens the door of some conversation in the game.
Sure, like, I think the person
can also leave Rizzo with a dangerous player who's still in the game and pissed at her.
Yeah. The person you have to put next to Rizzo, in my opinion, is Trey.
But Megs already has the dangerous people in the game pissed at her, and now she's just trying to go mega damage control by putting up
If
2 half-ass noms.
if Rizzo stays off the block and after the round he says, okay, me and Megs are great, I'm going to ride with her, then we can say it went okay.
No, and I'll still come in here in the next morning tea and say it was bad. I'm too stubborn.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, we'll just have to see. I mean, Rizzo has said he will,
stubborn.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I
an
mean,
order.
yeah, Rizzo has said he will
You're
call
like
it,
the order.
but that's the thing though, is how attached can you be to other people in this game? Like the thing is this cast loves each other. Almost everyone loves each other. So like how attached can you be to a particular nom set where you're likely going to see a nom that you don't like? So oh my god, I'm awake for live tea. Good morning, Tay. So I don't know, we'll have to see. I mean, there's still a veto to be played, and this eviction is not locked up. If the noms were to stay the same, it's very close. And the thing working for Michael is that there is a tie scenario here where, as of right now, Megs would evict Liv. So Liv needs 8 out of 14 voters rather than just forcing the 7-7 tie. So there's that working for him. But again, plenty of time for the target to change. Michael might not even be on the block to begin with. There's still 9 hours before noms are due. So like there's still time for things to change, but none of Michael's allies have really done anything to change Megs' mind. Like he needed Caro and Louise to really fight for him and tell Megs to back off, and they didn't. They said, that's fine, you do you. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it'll be an interesting 36 hours between now and the next eviction where there is no battle back. They go home. There is no duel to save them.
No, but are we really sure? Like,
Yeah. Why aren't they in the VL? Edge of Extinction?
On that note, any last thoughts?
We still haven't heard what Lee's twist for the rest of the pre-jury season is.
Giggles. You'll learn about the next pre-jury twist when it becomes relevant to the game. I think it'll become relevant soon enough.
Yeah, it'll become relevant by Saturday,
Sunday, it'll start coming out.
Edge of Extinction.
With that being said, I think we're gonna peace on out because we got today will be pretty slow. I mean, it really is just noms I think it's between 8 and 9, I think, are noms, and then we'll do the veto draw and start vetoes tonight and tomorrow. So today will be kind of slow because there's not really much to talk about until the noms come out, and then people will finally start talking real game. So be kind of a slow day. So enjoy your Friday off from this game. But for me, for Lee, for Alex Trias, for Bridget, and for Michael Bergeron, CEO, founder of the Stand Club, Ryan Taylor.
Give me a Louise Rizzo Sarah veto draw. Let's get it done.
Well, we'll see what happens. Bye, everybody.